Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Now in this video I want to talk about Dawah. Specifically I want to talk about the very popular da'is that are involved in London, in a place called Hyde Park Corner, well known as Speaker's Corner. So this takes place on Sunday. Everyone kind of gathers in this area in Hyde Park Corner, and there's a spot where all the people that have a message they want to speak about anything, speak about Christianity, speak about any kind of ideology, and there's also a lot of popular Muslim brothers, popular YouTubers that are recording their dawah, and there are certain brothers, they're very popular obviously on YouTube, they've got massive following. I kind of dislike their style of doing dawah, and I want to give them advice. I don't want to mention anyone by name. They know who they are, and people probably know who they are. It's important that when you invite people to Islam, okay, it doesn't matter how many years or months you have experience, this all means nothing. The most important is that your methodology, your style. We should always do it according to the prophetic way. So the Prophet ﷺ, he didn't speak to people with arrogance and pride. He did not belittle other people. He did not criticize other people's scriptures and put them down. So you should always be humble and speak to everyone with respect. Also the Prophet ﷺ, as far as I'm aware, and I've looked into this for now 30 something years, he never went into a debate. He didn't have to have a podium and then bring a disbeliever or a Jew, a Jewish man or rabbi, and then let's have a debate and let's discuss, and let me criticize you and he criticized the other. He didn't do that at all. So he would just say the message. If people come to him and ask him questions, he gives them the answer. And this is the style of giving dawah. You do it with respect. Listen. Allah gave you 2 ears, so you have to listen twice as much as you speak. So you listen to what they have to say first, raise up all their concerns and any issues, any obstacles they have, and their opinions on different things. Just hold back and listen to everything, and then eventually they will come up with a question, and you just give them the answer. If they're satisfied with the answer, alhamdulillah. If not, you allow them to ask questions, and you just give them answers. If, of course, there are people out there that just want to start a fight or arguments, or they just insult and they just walk away and that kind of stuff. So don't waste your time with these people. Just leave them alone. Yeah, it's not about trying to score points or win an argument. You don't need to do all that stuff, and you should not laugh at people, even if they lack knowledge in a particular area, because we're all at different levels. And it's by the blessing of Allah that He gave us knowledge and He guided us to Islam, alhamdulillah. So we should always be grateful and be humble and carry out God's way, Allah's way, with dignity and respect to all the other human beings, especially the people of the book. When you speak to a Jew or a Jewish, like someone that follows the Torah, let's say, because there are Jews that are Muslims. It's not always they follow Judaism. So, but if they say that they're following the Torah, or they're Jews and they're following Judaism, whatever. So you just say, okay, fine, and allow them to speak, allow them to raise a concern, allow them to tell their own opinion on why they're not a Muslim, why they haven't sort of completed that journey and believed in Jesus, peace be blessed be on him, and believed that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is a prophet. Ask them, allow them to speak and raise all their points, and then if they ask you a question, if they want to learn more, you give them the knowledge, and without criticism, without shouting it down or shoving Islam down their throat, because this isn't the style of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and we should always learn from the way the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ spoke to others and gave dawah to others. Okay, that's one thing. Now, of course, I want to keep this video short because I don't want to keep it too long. So I will talk about the education system and the importance of education, I myself, I'm not an Islamic scholar. I haven't studied in Medina like some of the fine brothers on YouTube or Al-Azhar, whatever. I wish I did. And maybe inshallah one day Allah can make an opening for me and give me that opportunity to study Islam more deeply and gather more knowledge than what I have. So if I did say anything in this video or any other video that I've created so far that is incorrect, I do welcome constructive criticism. There's nothing wrong with that. We're all are students. I'm a student, even if I'm 110 years old, it doesn't matter, and I can be corrected even from a child. That doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter about the age. It doesn't matter the gender. Nothing at all wrong with that. So feel free to give me any constructive criticism. Of course, if you're someone with knowledge, if you're someone who just has an opinion, or I don't need to hear from you, because I always respect people that have knowledge, like a scholar, or even like brother Sajid Lipham. I hope I said his name correct, Sajid Lipham, or Gabriel Romani. These are fine brothers, educated brothers, and I completely respect them, or any other sheikhs or someone that's studied in a university, spent years studying. I really respect people with knowledge. And it's important as well. I'm giving this advice to all Muslims. Anyone that says they're a Muslim, number one, the first obligation is studying, reading. So this is the first verse that came to the Prophet Muhammad is read, proclaim, teach, recite. All this is important. So it's an obligation. Studying is an obligation, every single Muslim. So you should always invest in your education, and of course religious, learning about Islam and whatever, that's important. However, I'm not just talking about that. I'm saying any kind of knowledge is also valuable, and teaching beneficial knowledge as well. That's also important. That's an obligation, and it's also an obligation in Islam to give dawah. So if you have a neighbor that's a non-Muslim, or a Muslim that's not practicing, and like a born Muslim, and it's just like it's like his culture or something like that. He's completely ignorant in Islam. He's still a Muslim, but of course he's ignorant. So you should make an effort to and take any opportunity to speak to them about Islam, tell them about certain things, get them to ask you questions. The most difficult questions I got weren't from the non-Muslims. It was actually from people that say they're born Muslim, and they lack knowledge in Islam, so they're completely confused, and they always tell me things, or they think Islam is teaching this, or Islam has this, or something's happened in the time of the Prophet Muhammad did something, and it's completely incorrect, because they obviously haven't studied it. They've just hearsay, so they just do something, or they have a cultural thing, or they've seen their parents do something, and they kind of imitate their parents, thinking this is from Islam, and this is actually not from Islam. It's complete ignorance, and it was actually something that was taken from the time of Jahiliyyah. So they still do things from the time of Jahiliyyah, thinking it's part of their, part of the religion, part of Islam, and they say it's sort of part of their culture, but it's actually from Jahiliyyah. It's completely haram what they're doing, but they're doing it out of ignorance. So inshallah, may Allah forgive them. So you should always take this opportunity to start a conversation with your neighbor, start a conversation with your work colleague, anyone that you meet up with or know. In the past, I used to just give, when I was very active in the dawah, I used to just give dawah to anyone that just crosses my path. So I'm walking in the street, I'm going to the mosque, and then someone might be walking just on the other side, and I'll just say hi, good morning, good afternoon, and then I say peace be upon you, or because non-Muslim, they don't know assalamu alaikum. So then I start a conversation with them. I ask them, do you believe in God? And I start this whole conversation, as you all know how to do it. And then from there I can start to gradually tell them about Islam, but I do it gradually. And then I used to just invite them to the mosque. I get them to meet other Muslims. Of course, Muslims are not the best example, and obviously I had some bad examples, even and bringing non-Muslims to to the mosque, because some people are a bit ignorant. They they come from third world country or something. They think Islam is just for Arabs, or there's a lot of people that are a bit confused, especially the old generation. But then obviously not everyone's like that. But you get the odd element that's a bit strange. But yeah, this is important. You show them the beauty of Islam in that way. Show them the Quran. Show them this is the word of Allah. And this is judge Islam by the Quran, and take them from that step. So this is important, and you always have to know that it's not who you love that it becomes. You can't guide who you love, but Allah guides those who seek guidance. So it has to be first an individual has to have the desire to learn. You can't teach someone by force. They have to want to know the truth. They have to be searching for something to find it. They can't be just sitting there like in business, for example, because I do business. I know about all these things. So for example, I get people that say they want to be rich, but they don't do anything at all. They talk about it. But they don't have a plan. They don't search for it. They just expect somehow by miracle the sky is going to just rain with gold, for example. Yeah, so it's not like that. It doesn't work that way. You have to do something. You have to take some action, and then Allah completes. Allah is the one that gives you success or failure. So it's not in your hand to have the success or failure. You can only work. You can have a plan and just work that plan, and then only Allah can bless you, and you can succeed or you can fail. But don't try to break the rules. For example, maybe like there's a brother that wants to buy a house. We know in Islam that riba is haram, borrowing money from the bank is haram. But then you have people that say, well, there's no way to do this. Well, let me tell you, there is a way to do it. There is a way you can buy property. So you have to this is the test of your faith. So it's important. So you have to be patient. You have to have a plan. Okay, I might not have £1 million today, but how can I make £1 million? And you work that plan. Yeah, and only Allah can give you the success. Only Allah can give you the barakah to achieve that goal. Yeah, don't try to jump. Don't try to jump the queue. Don't try to achieve something the haram way, because your risk is fixed. You can do it. If you do it, you're not going to get barakah. All your other deeds that you're doing, may Allah accept, but in my opinion, it will not be accepted, because you're just going against. You're trying to get something through haram. So you should never do that. You should not go and sell maybe drugs or sell alcohol or get involved in something which is completely forbidden in Islam. So you can enrich yourself and to achieve something that which might be noble. You might not. I'm not saying you're trying to do something, or buy some, you're making money so you can do something haram. No, you might want to provide a house for your family. You want a bigger house for your family, for your children, but you can't do it the haram way. You want barakah, you have to do it the right way and refrain from that. And there's always other areas you can, look for property. Unfortunately, we've all made mistakes. I made mistakes in the past, and may Allah forgive me. But when I decided to stick now to the deen and follow the deen properly, I started looking at properties where it's not kind of like the prices are not high. So I wanted to buy a property, for example. I started looking at the auctions. I started looking at areas that are less, they're not sort of favorable. They're kind of like really still developing and stuff like that. The property maybe needed a bit of work, so it was discounted, and I had the means, I had the cash, I bought it, and then I started progressing like that. So it's always important to live within your means. There's nothing wrong with desiring more or wanting more so you can do more good. Like I said, you can have a big purpose, like you want to build a mosque, and a mosque might cost £5 million, or more. So you need to obviously do something to get that kind of capital, but you have a greater purpose. So I'm not against you, raising capital, working and struggling and building a business so you can, succeed and get the capital, so then you can create this perpetual charity. I'm not against that at all. I'm all for it. And work is worship. It's part of Islam, that you have to work, you have to strive. You have to do business is a big thing as well. Allah has a lot of blessings for someone who's a trader or who's a businessman. Education is a big thing as well. So you always should follow the correct procedure, whether it's da'wah, whether it's making money, whether it's achieving certain goals in life. We should always follow the methodology of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which whenever we participate or engage in a particular any activity, or if we want to study something, we should always look at, what does Islam say about this particular subject? What does the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? Is there any sayings? What does Allah say about this in the Quran? And try to take that on board before we engage or participate in that particular activity, whatever it is. I mean, I'm just keeping it all general. Okay. So likewise, I'm computer science. I always try to look into the Quran and say, what's Allah say about this? Is there anything that I can draw from the Quran regarding my profession? And also I'm involved in Islamic Sharia, finance and that area, so I always try to draw from that. What does the Sharia say about economy and so on? I don't draw just on my academic knowledge, because obviously in academia they only teach you certain things based on what's out there, what's already there, what's been implemented. So if it's the wrong system, wrong economic system, that's what they're teaching you. They're teaching you they're teaching falsehood. So you should learn what the system that exists, even if it's wrong, learn about it, understand all the flaws and the mistakes and issues in the current economic system. Understand that. I'm not saying to ignore it and completely become ignorant. Learn about their system, the secular system, and then compare it to what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us about how to engage in trade, how the economy works, and also what Allah, the halal, the Sharia of the economy, how money creation works according to Islam. So we should always understand that what is halal money, what's haram money. Halal money is not just about you earn money from the halal means, and haram is you earn it from riba, or you earn it from selling alcohol or pork, whatever. It's not like that. It's the whole money creation process. So a little glimpse of that, for example, that in Islam, for money to become halal and become real money, it has to have an intrinsic value. Has to be backed by certain commodities. For example, in the Quran it talks about dinar and dirham. Dinar is the gold, and the dirham is silver. And it's not just the coins. I mean, you can have a paper money or something, but it has to be pegged on gold. It's like we had the gold standard. So in Egypt, before 1912, before the occupation by the British, the one Egyptian pound was pegged on 7.4 grams of gold. What the benefit of this, having real money, is you don't have any inflation. So all the stuff that people are suffering from right now, inflation and all these issues, poverty and all that stuff, is because of that money creation process, which they've depegged from gold. It's a floating currency, it has no backing, and it's all based on interest, and it's all based on money creation. So what they do is they create new money out of thin air, and that devalues the money. So what actually happens is when new money is being printed or created, it devalues your money. So then it has this effect where you see everything else is increasing in price. It's not the energy that's increasing in price, or food's increasing in price, or it's not that at all, and it's not the gold prices going up. It's nothing like that at all. It's just your money is just becoming less valuable. So instead of £1 you can buy a pint of milk. What it is, when they produce more money, instead of it being £1 for a pint of milk, it becomes £2, because the value of that £1 is just being reduced by half. So you have to pay twice as much to get the same commodity. Just giving you a simple example. So the whole inflation thing, for example, is man-made. Okay, it's man-made because it's a way of, it's like a stealth tax from the elites. They create these things, so they tax you in one way, so which is the official tax. So let's say 50%, or you pay 50% tax, and then the rest of the other 50%, which you get to keep, they tax you in a different way. So then eventually, when you look at it, you realize actually you've been working for free, because they've just robbed you. They're robbing hard-working individuals through these tactics, and they make it sound like it's something complicated or something beneficial by using terms like quantitative easing and all that stuff, to make it sound as if it's too complicated for the layman to understand. But it's like daylight robbery. At the end of the day, it's a big scam that unfortunately people fell into in 1912, and from there it's just got worse and worse and worse. And academically, that's what they teach university, thinking, well, this is how the economy works. So they're teaching something based on falsehood, unfortunately. So you should learn how that system works, all the issues with that, and then you go to the Quran and understand the right way of doing things. So you know the wrong way, and now you know the right way, and you can compare the difference, the benefit of Allah's way, and you can compare the way of the devil, the shaitan, the Dajjal, the Antichrist way. So you have the Antichrist and you have Allah. You choose which system is better, and you will see very clearly the truth always outshines falsehood. So it's very important to do that. And I've kind of spoke a bit too much. I didn't want to just drag on in this video. I wanted to keep it very brief, but I always try to, in my videos, to give a little bit extra, so the listener, because I don't know what level you're at, can benefit in some way or another, inshallah. And I encourage everyone to also do the same. If you can set up a YouTube channel, share your knowledge, go by all means do that. Your knowledge might be in medicine, for example. You talk about medicine. If your knowledge is in health and fitness, you can do that. Inshallah, also we'll make videos on health and fitness and my experience in weight loss and weight gain and stuff. I'm now at the worst condition, but inshallah I'm going to try to put a health plan in place again, and then get back into shape and so on, so to get to that level where once I was more athletic and stuff like that. It gets difficult as you grow older, but there is ways to do this, and inshallah I will share that. And again, the fitness plan is all coming from the prophetic way, so it's not something that it's like a fad or something. Just mix this or do that. None of that. It's all from Islam. It's all from the Quran and from the prophetic way. So I always try to get all my information. It's not like I'm anything special. I'm just taking what's there, what Allah's told us, and what the Prophet ﷺ told us how to get healthy, how to be fit, how to lose weight the correct way. So it's very simple, and I will share that with you. If you could do it, yeah, great, fantastic. It would work for you. If you can't, and there's no one else, don't run after any fads or potions and lotions or whatever. Allah's given us the best solution, and Islam is a complete way of life. It's not something like a spirituality or something that's an ideology. It's completely different. It gives you instructions. It's like an instruction manual from the Creator, and it tells you how to live a very happy, successful, peaceful life, and it gives you answers to every single problem that people are currently suffering from today, right now. They're suffering from. And if you listen to the media, you'll go astray. If you listen to anybody else that is misguided, you will go astray. You will go into depression. So always turn back to Allah, always turn back to the Quran, always turn back to the people with knowledge, not ignorant people, not some da'i, not even listen to me. You go back to a source that has more knowledge. Of course, certain areas, if you speak to someone, maybe like an imam in the mosque, he might not have an understanding how the economy works, so he might not be able to guide you in that sense. You might not have an understanding in that way politics works, so he might not be able to guide you in that. So you need to find an expert who understands economics and also understands Islam, understands the Sharia of Allah, and also understands economics and politics and the whole social system, and he understands all that. So this is what you need to find, someone that's like that, and not those who claim to be Islamic finance scholars, because unfortunately I've interacted with those individuals. A lot of them, they try to build on the corrupt foundation, the weak foundation. So you have the foundation, the economic system, and they try to build on it. So they try to make something that's haram halal, And I'll give you a little insight as well. A lot of the individuals that are pushing for Islamic Sharia finance and stuff like that, they are non-Muslims. So it's because they see it's a money maker. So it's a way to make money out of Muslims, is to just, you know, create like a t-shirt and put a brand on it, halal Sharia. So it's become like a gimmick now. Yeah. So people abuse that. And these are non-Muslims. They're not Muslims, by the way. Underneath them, people that work for them are Muslims. They have consultants. They have all these other people that makes it appear as if it's an Islamic movement, but unfortunately, it's not. It's something that non-Muslims are pushing because it's a money maker. And just exactly like a designer clothes, you have a brand on it, and that's what you can charge more for it. So if you have like a mortgage with interest, and then you have another mortgage which to say it's Islamic finance, Islamic mortgage, and that kind of stuff, but when you look deep into it, all they're doing is they're just charging you more to get the same service, yeah, because they want to exploit that part. So they'll say, okay, you want halal, just pay double as much. What's the difference between the halal and the haram? Okay, the halal is you pay twice interest, and the haram you pay less, you pay half. So yeah, so people start obviously saying, oh, I'll take the haram. Some people have done that. I've seen Muslims, they go to a bank, because I work in a bank, and I've been working in banks for just over 10 years now. So I understand the system at a consultant level, and you get Muslims that go into the bank and they say, well, I want to save money, but how much interest do I get for this halal saving account? How much interest, they say, right? And then they say, okay, you get 10%. The haram one, how much interest you pay? They say, we'll pay 12%. Oh, okay. Then they choose obviously the 12%. Some people, they say, well, okay, I'll take less interest, whatever, but in their mind they're thinking this is halal, but it's actually still riba. So you have two riba rates. One's going to pay you a little bit more, which is the haram one, and the halal one's going to pay you less. So it's kind of like, they kind of play around with that. And some people do that, and some people obviously they're very religious. They think the bank is obviously doing something halal, so they say, oh yes, of course, no, I want the halal, and brother, sister, I want the halal, and they do that way. But actually they're earning riba here, and this side they're earning riba, and also the loan from the bank is exactly the same. It's riba here, riba there, it's the same. So, and they fool people that have lack of knowledge in these matters. So this is all it is. It's just a brand, unfortunately, as a case. And we can only have the Islamic Sharia, Islamic economics, Islamic monetary system once there is a way to establish that. But unfortunately, there is a big block on that, and part of the rule, the condition for even the British to leave Egypt is they can't go back into the correct way, or start creating money, real money, not the fabricated system that exists today. Okay, so anyway, I talked a little bit too much, and I gave a little bit of information here and there. Inshallah, I will try to make a video just focusing on what I specialize in, which is the economics and also computer science as a financial software engineer. So I will give some of that inshallah in the future. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and like I said, if you notice anything that I've said incorrect, please give me some constructive criticism. I highly welcome it, and I'm also a student all the time. My whole life I'm a student, okay? Forever. Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and I leave you for now.